Free life lesson: pick your battles well, because if you don't, you may end up with no legs. That's really the lesson of today's video, and one that many land animals have had to learn. Buckle up, kids, it's gonna be wild. From a 3,000-pound plus battle to a battle of bull. As humans, we know that just about any heavy animal with horns is a risk to our life. But what do they think about one another? Well, if this video is anything to go by, they're not all that crazy about one another. Let's see what happens when an angry bull meets a PO'd rhino. The match begins as you'd expect, with both animals locking horns and refusing to back down. But unfortunately for the bull, the rhino has a lot more mass and power to lift and push back its opponent. In fact, it doesn't take long at all for the rhino to get the bull on its back. Of course, this only makes the bull more determined to get up and finish the job. Eventually, the bull seems to recognize that the rhino will win no matter what he may be able to do. In the animal kingdom, mass always wins. While this fight doesn't occur much in the natural animal kingdom, there's absolutely no question that the rhino would win every single time against the bull. Sure, they both have some anger issues, but the rhino has all that mass. It's like when a normal-sized human attempts to take on Schwarzenegger in a movie. Just why, dude? Versus tiger. You probably know an awful lot about both the lion and the tiger, but which one is stronger? The answer may surprise you. While the lion is heralded as the king of the jungle, they're really nothing compared to the sheer ruthlessness and strength of the tiger. And here's some proof. This video shows the matchup between a Bengal tiger and an African lion, and it's probably not the kind of thing you'd expect. When we think of tigers and lions, we think of composed and careful hunters sneaking up on their prey and subduing them. However, in this video, what we see is a much more free-form and aggressive grudge match, unfolding on the ground before our very eyes. It's dirty, it's brutal, it's really something. Whichever one of them started this fight, it's immediately clear that they misjudged the whole thing. While the tiger is the stronger one of the two, there's no real sign of either animal coming out on top. In fact, it seems that every time the tiger manages to subdue the lion, the king of the jungle just frees himself and begins lashing right back. So who won, Mufasa or Shere Khan? Feel free to drop a comment down versus warthog. The laws of nature clearly state that the predator and prey will remain locked in a never-ending combat for good and evil, determined by a series of cards known as Yuki. Oh no, wrong topic. This is a fight between a warthog and a leopard. Right, got it. My bad. When this leopard decided to pounce upon a warthog, I doubt it ever considered the possibility of anything going wrong. After all, it's a warthog. But of course, no prey animal wants to go down without a fight. And as the warthog struggles and screams, things take a turn. After a period of spinning and flipping, the leopard appears to have gained the upper hand. Until, of course, a hyena comes to disrupt the leopard's enjoyment, chasing the predator away and allowing the warthog to run free into the wilderness. All's well that interrupts well, right? This matchup should have been unimaginably easy for the leopard. Taking down a warthog is basic Predator 101, but a rogue hyena's simple intervention disrupted the whole thing. I guess the lesson here is simple. Do not mess with hyenas, or warthogs, or leopards for that matter. Basically just zebra versus lion. Zebras, like many other gentle animals, tend to be among the most popular prey for opportunistic predators. But zebras have a well-orchestrated herd system to protect their pride from potential threats, often preventing what would otherwise be easy kills. Take a look at this video, and you'll see an enthusiastic lioness keeping an eye on the pride of zebra in a field. But as usual, one of the zebra lookouts happened to notice the intruder inching closer closer, sending the whole pack into the sprint of their lives. As the lioness manages to close in on the baby zebra, it suffers one last surprise, a sharp kick to the face, which completely throws it off its game and forces it to give up the whole thing. That's probably not how the whole thing went in her head. Perhaps most surprisingly, there have been many reports of zebras killing lions as a result of this. Apparently, the sharp kick to the head often results in the lion's broken jaw, leading to the eventual starvation of the cat. So I guess any lion who tries to prey on a zebra is liable to discover they messed with the wrong kangaroo versus ram. While they may only exist in Australia, just about everybody knows that kangaroos are unpredictable and extremely dangerous animals. So this video probably won't come as a surprise to most. It most definitely came as a surprise to the kangaroo though. This ram happened to have unknowingly trespassed on the kangaroo's prized land and quickly found itself on the receiving end of the roo's aggression. Every few moments, the kangaroo launches toward the ram as if threatening its very presence on this land. But against all the odds, the ram just refuses to move. In fact, it takes great pride in the fact that it just won't. Eventually, the fight moves to a larger field where the pair once again stand off in a war of territory. When the kangaroo finally bounces off, the ram decides to follow behind, presumably to make its point even clearer. This is admittedly one of the more unusual matchups that you'll ever see in nature, but clearly neither of these animals has any interest in backing down or giving up, so you can probably imagine where this fight went after the end of the video. I doubt they went to get a drink and become friends. Snake. There's one constant in nature. No matter the situation or the species, hell hath no fury like a concerned mother. And apparently, rabbit mothers are incredibly badass, perhaps even trained in some kind of martial arts? I mean, there's really no way of knowing. This black snake believed that it had hit the jackpot in finding an abandoned nest of baby rabbits. But after he got himself coiled around his future targets, things went horribly wrong. When Mama Rabbit returns, she immediately launches onto the snake and begins her incredible quest for vengeance. In the incredible fight, the rabbit eagerly starts to fight the snake, pulling it back repeatedly to teach it a few more lessons. But perhaps the greatest moment comes near the end, when the rabbit delivers one of the most perfect kung fu kick backflips I've ever seen. Suffice to say, the snake managed to escape the rabbit's grip, but the rabbit quickly followed, ensuring that escape was all but impossible. Given their peaceful prey reputation, you'd never expect the rabbit to be the one delivering such a brutal beatdown on a snake. But clearly this is what happens when you put a mother's babies in harm's way. You don't want to mess with Mama versus Wasp. If you're someone with a deathly fear of spiders, feel free to look away for now. Although you may miss out on an animal that is, surprisingly, one of the big spider killers of the animal kingdom. Wasps. More specifically, the spider wasp. While everybody knows that spiders mostly like to feed on flies, they're also known to enjoy the occasional wasp. But there's one wasp that doesn't quite go down so easy. The spider wasp. In fact, this insect often manages to turn the tables on its unsuspecting predator. After paralyzing the spider with its large stinger, the wasp will drag the arachnid back to its nest, where it will lay an egg into the spider's abdomen. The spider will then become a host to the young wasp, which feeds on the inside of the arachnid's body before breaking free as an adult wasp. So not the easy meal the spider expected. This, admittedly, is one of the more brutal table-turning incidents of the animal kingdom. There aren't many animals or insects that will use another animal's still-breathing body as a host for its young. That actually sounds more like something from a sci-fi horror movie.